Hi. Today, I will be finally making a proper video that I got distracted by my mother about eating a little piece of food and some tea. Although I drank some water to save up my voice box. And now, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for, that I'll be reviewing the Batman 2004. Because I know this year is the 30th anniversary of Batman the Animated Series, I'd like to do this review to make a huge shout out to a fan favorite YouTuber of mine. I know there are a few fan favorites I can think of, but let me just find some interesting YouTubers. Let me find them on YouTube to think of. It's a huge shout out to Headphones UK. Yes, he's from Britain. I know he lives in the UK with me. We have Superframe, Brown Table, and most notably, Watch of the 2000s, Justin Carter, and In Search of Physical Media, Red Arrow, Nerdy Before It Was Cool, J-Tunes, B Infuso, and DC Enthusiast, and Ultra Freak, and Omega Russian something, Toyshes, Batman Film, Super Frame, Troyo Boyo 17, Manhunter Below 14th Street, and also Roundtable. Now, we're going to get this out of the way, and it'll be a huge request. As I know it's based on the unproduced 1999 Batman triumphant film that never got off the ground, in what I've learned that the rumored Darren Aronofsky was considered to direct that movie, there's something interesting of what I could have seen it. Now, let's find out what happens, and here is where you can think of. The Batman 2004 is like Spider-Man the Animated Series meets Batman Beyond. But what can I think of it? From my year, which was 2004, there were many cartoons that were coming to an end. Many of them I could think of, excluding SpongeBob SquarePants, like Static Shock, including the Drew Carey Show. Yeah, I really don't care for this show because I don't like it. I made a review about it. And we also had Frasier, for whom I always preferred Frasier over Drew Carey Show. And also Friends, in which I wasn't a fan of it. And also the Buffy spin-off called Angel. I know I like Angel. I noticed that all of these shows have come to an end, minus SpongeBob SquarePants, which is still airing today. So, anyways, now speaking of that, let me focus around. Oh, and one last Easter egg. Let's not forget another cartoon called Johnny Bravo, which also came to an end after its spawn of probably 7 years on Cartoon Network from 1997 to 2004. Now, speaking of that, let's tackle this review. So, the Batman, the costume protector of Gotham City, is secretly billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne, voiced by Rino Romano, which focuses on the earlier years of his crime fighter career before his first actual year. He began fighting crime 3 years prior to the start of the first year of the series, where no one publicly knew about his acknowledge of the existence of himself, who operates out of a secret lair beneath the Vigilante's mansion, bears the Batcave, by his butler Alfred Pennyworth, played by Alistair Duncan, would help him stop crime with the assistance of the gadgets and a supercomputer that he created from high-tech media. However, when the crime in Gotham is in decline, thanks to Superman's quick thinking of Metropolis being more of a brighter side of being more nicer, Angel Rojas, who in the pilot originally by E.J. Olmos and later Jesse Corti, orders the officers to hunt down Batman, for whom Angel thinks Batman is the ultimate enemy who should be punished for hurting innocent people. But from the moment he knew his existence, despite Angel's orders, a new character created for it, being called Ethan Bennett, believes that he needs Batman, for whom Angel noticed that Ethan would ignore Angel's warnings not to team with Batman. But Ethan gets assistance from his best friend Ellen Yin, who slowly becomes torn between her commitment to Law and Order and her feelings towards Ethan or Batman. However, the emboldened Ethan is tasked to kidnap Batman with the assistance of Ellen. Even though Bruce gets torn apart from his responsibilities of his own life, what he was seemed to be kidnapped by a villain, the mayor, Marion Grangi, puts him on trial of learning that he was convicted of a crime that he didn't commit on purpose. However, Ethan gets torturedly mutated by the Joker, turning Ethan into Clayface. However, Clayface isn't the only one doing this. If he was forced into hiding, the returning villains would show up. The Dreadlock Joker, played by Kevin Michael Richardson of Lilo and Stitch fame, Penguin, voiced by Tom Kenny of SpongeBob fame, Catwoman, voiced by Gia Gerson, Mr. Freeze, voiced by Clancy Brown Crash Bandicoot fame, Firefly, voiced by Jason Master of Tack fame, although he's still played by Brendan Fraser of Monkey Bone fame, Scarface the ventriloquist dummy, played by Dan Castellaneta, who is best known for portraying Homer Simpson in The Simpsons, Man Bat by Peter McNoll, Clue Master by Glenn Shaddix, and also Bane, who was played by both Jacqueline D'Amelia and Ron Perlman and Clancy Brown 3 times in a row. However, it gets really, really complicated as he continues to act outside of his own mistakes. He goes on the run, confronting Ragdoll, not to be confused with the company that did Teletubbies by Jeff Bennett, The Riddler by Robert Engold, originally meant to be from Marilyn Manson, Killer Croc by Ron Perlman, Spellbinder by Michael Massey, Solomon Grundy by Kevin Greavox, and New Villain Hugo Strange by Frank Gorshin. For some reason, he was replaced by Richard Green. Although, let's not forget Poison Ivy by Pierre Capella, Gearhead by Wilfredi Max Zezius, The Toymaker, Prank, Templar, Dave, and finally, we wouldn't forget Harley Quinn, the Everywhere Man, Black Mask, Rumor, Killer Moth, and also, we wouldn't forget Mercy Graves and Lex Luthor, Metal, Count Vertigo. Yeah, like Lex Land and Greg Ellis, and also Miguel Ferrer, John LaCourte, David Foster, Gwendolyn Yeo, and we had The Wrath by Christopher Gorham. We also had Brandon Rove and Hinton Welch, although Tara Strong was considered for Harley Quinn but stepped down. We had Francis Gray. We had James Remar's Black Mask. And Basil Carlos' version of Clayface by Wallace Langham. Wow! Are there 2 Clayfaces involved? That's bizarrely twisted. I know, there were 10 new villains that were involved, like Kabuki twins. And also, some sort of rumoured villain I can think of. The Joining, which was a new villain involved in it. A new team of robot villains. And also, the somewhat infamous Scorn, who appeared in it. And that's kind of bizarre. What I've learned is that There was a rejected episode of Batman, the animated series, that impacted DC supervillain named Nocturna, which never happened, was recycled into this one that we almost got, and the one that we ultimately got. But it adapted out according to bad qualities. We had Superman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Hawkman, and Green Arrow, and Wonder Woman got, and also both Aquaman and Wonder Woman were omitted. But the funniest thing is that the only villains that were absent, like Scarecrow, Ra's al Ghul, Two-Face, and Mad Hatter, were all absent from appearing in it. So I noticed after they put in too much villains and heroes in it, well, there's one bad egg. There are some redeeming qualities, like the Batman started off doing its own thing with the Bat Mythos against its Bat and Braco problem, but it gradually got into more familiar territory, with Batgirl and Robin being involved in the next 2 seasons, giving him the signature Lantern Law of Justice, replacing Man gradually how Material Hill was funny, and we had familiar to the viewers of the previous animated Batman series and played down the new stylized designs of the villains. It sounded very, very familiar, but all I could say is, how did the Batman 2004 enter seasonal rot? After the extremely well-received Season 4, Season 5 abruptly turns the entire show into a generic Justice League vehicle covered in the fingerprints of executive meddling. The previous Justice show that had just ended, higher-ups presumably want to keep them on TV to set up the so-called Justice League heavy, Brave and the Bold, before abruptly ending. There's still a couple classic episodes that have been seen in Season 5, but it's a guide to a step down what would have been an understatement. But when 4Kids screwed it by the network, 4Kids decided to take over Kids WB and move it to CW 4Kids. It felt like an utter screwing attempt to do this. It's like in the 1943 serial, the 2022 movie, and Dracula was also exclusive to this cartoon. All I can say is this cartoon got bit into the dust and was later replaced by the Spectacular Spider-Man, which was abruptly cut short into like a total of 2 seasons and 26 episodes, and we never got a 3rd season involved. And then we had Beware the Batman, which was cut short as well. But like I've learnt my lesson according to the terrible ideas of what killed the whole DC Comics franchise as a whole, the writers ran out of ideas because despite the Brave and the Bold being so funnier, Beware the Batman is quite darker because of the whole idea of Katana taking Robin's place as Batman's traditional sidekick. Wait a second. Katana is Batman's sidekick? Wait a minute. Does that sound anything familiar? Sounds like a funny idea. So, I had no idea about her husband and children being murdered by a Yakuza boss. In the comics, it was Takeo, but then it was Sensei Tadashi. But that was Tatsu became Katana because of the cartoon being too young to be married. Sounds like a funny idea. She took her place and ignored all the villains, and they added Magpie and Anarchy, and also Professor Pig? Oh, come on. What would they do to this? And wait a minute! Why did they added Mr. Toad? Oh, come on! Where the hell did they put Mr. Toad in Batman? We already had a Mr. Toad for freaking Disney! Did I run out of ideas? I have no idea what the heck did they screwed him up in a cartoon show about superheroes. I'm out of here!